one of those who were like calling out Bokwari, but no, not even a single time, as mad as Bokwari was, not even a single time like this did they stop the payment of these guys, including Asari. Anton Polo, in fact, ended up becoming the one that is now guiding Nigeria water, protecting Nigeria multi-billion-dollar pipeline. The former terrorist is now the one protecting the water, as well as right now in Nigeria, at the cost of 4.2 billion naira every month. Think of that. 4.2 billion. That's like over what do you call? That's like what? Yeah, that's almost 50 billion naira a year. That's just a chicken change to what the guy is actually making from the oil bunkering. This is how they placate them. This is how they manage them. And Asari made his money there too. So when Tinubu was coming on board, Asari thought that would be an opportunity for him to now replace Tumpolo. Tumpolo has enjoyed that pipeline contract for 6 years, and he's still enjoying it. So if Tinubu can now give him that, he too can make some good money. Now that they haven't, so Asari has something to say about the Rivers State. Fair enough. Okay. Let's go to the next one, talking about that same contraption, Nigeria. Here is that video I shared earlier. Let's go back to it. Watch this. Nigeria can't be helped anymore.
Thank you. As far as I'm concerned, the economy is not working. Nigerian economy is not in green. Nigerian economy is not in amber. Nigerian economy is in red. The only thing is, it is not yet in crimson. That is it. I have reasons. In a country where the monthly minimum wage of a citizen cannot buy a 50 kg bag of rice, that economy is in trouble. In a country where the minimum wage of citizens cannot buy a 50-liter diesel jerrycan of diesel, quote me that country is in trouble. So we are living in a country where the variables are wrong. They are not working. We are on the wrong trajectory. I've analyzed it from an engineering perspective. We are wrong. I analyze it as a chartered accountant. We are wrong. I've analyzed it as a tax practitioner and a chartered tax analyst. Nigeria is on the wrong track. And we are talking about media moderation now. You are seeing a country where strategic industrial sectors are collapsing. Strategic domestic sectors are collapsing. Strategic commercial sectors are collapsing, and somebody will tell me the economy is working. The economy is not working. Okay. And we better get it right. You're talking about a country where between 1965 and 1989, the then generation of leaders that we felt were illiterate conceived the idea of having at least 4 refineries. As a practicing petroleum engineer and a gas engineer from 1990 to now 2024, you're talking about 34 good years. The generation of leaders that we have didn't deem it fit to maintain what they inherited. They didn't deem it fit to construct a single refinery. Do you expect anybody to tell you that we're going to run into energy crisis? You don't need anybody to tell you that we're going to run into energy crisis. Look at the institutional investors that are in Nigeria, especially the multinational companies. They are running away because of business climate hostilities. And somebody will tell me, with my engineering knowledge, with my accounting knowledge, that they are divesting. You can't tell me that. They are not divesting. They are running away because we are experiencing business climate hostilities. It is only in Nigeria that you see people you call leaders, and they cannot tell you the difference between commercialization privatization, liberalization, or even deregulation. This is the country we belong to.
Okay.
But so it's not working. Thank
It is not. Thank you so much, engineer. You will run into so much trouble, and you are already in that trouble. You have a set of leaders who have no idea on how to create wealth, create job, manage economy, prepare and plan for the future. You have a set of criminal leaders who believe that once they manage to give you 1,000 naira and possibly, a few cups of rice, that should take care of your worries. Because don't worry about the future. The future will take care of itself. Those are the kind of criminal leaders you have. See those ones before them. Those ones that they will likely tell you were illiterate. Quite a point. You know, those are the ones who were able to build things. The things that these ones have now sold as scraps. Have you not noticed that these ones don't build anything for real? If they are not borrowing money to build projects that are substandard and never to be completed, projects, most of them that doesn't really serve their people, but they will still do it anyway. You can smell the distance between the government and the governed, and they do not care. You are watching Nigeria implode right before your very eyes. But somehow, some people want you to believe that you don't understand what you are talking about. Anyway, from what that man said, to those who are smart enough, listen to me. You do not need, a blind man doesn't need anyone to tell him that the market is empty. The moment it gets closer, nobody should tell a blind man that the market is empty. Trust me, you will feel it. Nigeria is finished, and you are watching that right now. That man was talking about over 30 years ago, 34 years ago, when the leaders you've been having from 1990 till now, 2024. These are scroungers, scavengers, pickpockets, rent seekers, rent takers, career criminals, destiny killers, dream stealers, corrupt entity or characters that does not mean well for anyone. About remove another 10 years and say, okay, let's say from the millennium. From the millennium, when you turn to the year 2000s, okay? This was the year you can say is now about 24 years now. About 24 years. A lot of you were born 24 years ago. Now you are seated there. We are now all kind of witnessing this Nigeria, which simply means that 24 years ago, there was never any plan for what will happen in 24 years after. There was no plan, no preparation. You were brought to this world, you and your generation. You were brought here with no plan. This was just a recent one, 24 years ago. Now, if anybody tells you Nigeria is going to be great, if I ask you, no, would you believe them? Or if I ask you right now, where do you see Nigeria in the next 24 years? Without using your imagination, because now imagination will finish majority of you, okay? Without having to use that, just use what is real, what is available, what you can touch, and tell me where you see Nigeria in the next 24 years. Where? Where do you see Nigeria in 24 years? A working country. Or a different, what do you call them? A different hamlet. I said something, I call the Niger Delta terrorists. I call them terrorists. Somebody, or maybe few of you, you were trying to correct me, Abi. You think I didn't know? Do you think it is not intentional that I call them terrorists? Is that not what we were told? To call them militant. What is the meaning of militant? What is the meaning of a militancy? What is the difference between a thief, and somebody who is okay, I think I wanted to say Oliatafora, you know that one, right? The media presented, listen to this, so in Niger Delta, from the record, right? They said Nigeria is taking the Niger Delta oil, and the youth of Niger Delta are not benefiting from the oil. So in their way to benefit from the oil, they decided to group themselves and arm themselves. Okay? And when I say arm themselves, right, I'm talking about create a group of violent people and go take whatever you think is yours. But you and I can't do that, can we? So their media in Nigeria, when I was still there, they reported them as militants to make it sound like it's something nice. Okay? They were not fighting for any human right or anybody. These guys were kidnapping expatriates. Okay? There are civilians who died too, because I just wanted to be nice. That's why I said they were not attacking civilians. There were civilians who died in the crossfire, because whenever they come, they took over the entire region. It's like when terrorists come and start shooting. You understand? Powerful guns and all of that, until they will take away whoever they want to take away. And guess what? Somebody who said they are not terrorists, they are militants. Maybe you are from Niger Delta, Abi. You don't feel insulted already. Please don't insult us. We are just militants. We are not terrorists. Is that not what you are telling yourself? So who are you militanting for? Who? Like, okay, the people, they were denied access to their, to enjoy from their resources. Sounds good, Abi. But when they now kidnap expatriates, kidnap everyone they were collecting ransom from, did this guy now started building roads with the money? Or they started building schools with the money? Did they started providing water for the locals with the money? Or did they started building, what did they do with the money? The money they collected from the oil companies and all of that, every one of them is collecting in that place by force, by everything. What are they doing with it? Making themselves feel good, right? Buying themselves, but they are not terrorists. They are not criminals. Human rights fighter. That's what you tell yourselves. Do you know that is what the Fulanis are telling themselves too? The Fulani terrorists. Yeah, they came out and said, what do you want us to do? The government abandoned us. The government is not giving our people education. We are not having access to healthcare. We are not kiniko. So everybody just abandoned us. That is why we started kidnapping people for ransom. I mean, maybe they are not terrorists. Maybe they too, they are militants. Fulani militants. Are they not already calling them bandits in Nigeria? Is that not what the media describe them as? They won't even call them Fulani bandits. They call them bandits. Bandits. So yes, Nigerian media called them militants. In fact, some of us actually grew up believing that they were fighting the government because government denied their people development. At the end of the day, everybody is just trying to use what they have to get what they want. None of them care about the people. Not Tompolo, not Asari, not any of those terrorists in Niger Delta. They care about themselves. And they got some of them died, but some of them who are alive, they got what they wanted. And guess what? The people they were fighting for, they don't get water now. Now don't get water for Niger Delta to drink. Yeah, I mean, Ogone clean up. Have they cleaned up your land now, so that you can be able to plant like everyone else? They got all those things, So please don't even try and think I didn't know why I called them I called them terrorists, not militants, because that's what media does. Tell me what they did to their people. Tell me one single thing that you will tell me they were fighting for, and what did they get out of that? They all became multi-billionaires, multi-millionaires. They were living large, it's our money, it's our oil. Give us money. But Niger Delta still remain one of the poorest in Nigeria. Supposed place that is the golden goose laying the golden egg for Nigeria is still one of the poorest. Bayelsa is the second poorest state in Nigeria. And that's a state where billions of dollars worth of crude oil is being lifted every now and then. So you tell me how to describe a terrorist and tell me that the Niger Delta terrorists were not terrorists after all. Huh? They are fighting for the people. Which people? Is that what you're telling yourselves? You know they are not fighting for anyone. Just like anybody who tells you they are fighting for anybody in any part of Nigeria. Pay attention very well. As long as it concerns Nigeria, majority of them are doing what they can to get their own fair share or share of whatever it is that is being shared. And if you don't understand what is being traded, you are the pawn. You are the commodity they are trading. How are you the commodity? You are the willing mumu, okay, that is ready to somehow help them understand the fraud and defend it. So if you are in a room and they are negotiating, they are discussing this, and you can't see what they are negotiating on the table about, you may be the commodity yourself. It could be you that they are trying to kind of sell off. We've seen this many times. Take advantage of what you can and walk away and smile to the bank. So when it comes to the rivers, you see, this is also a state with a very strong group of cultists. I'm talking about a cult fight where they will kill themselves, cultists too, not just students too. Even people who know day school, the cultists in River State. So these are people who have been by side, empowered by the criminal politicians of different camps. So as we speak, majority of them will be on the side of who is willing to pay, and they can now contribute to the flame that they are about to start. But that's just by the way. But generally, the state of Nigeria, and to those of you who are living in denial of it, those who genuinely know the damages that these guys have done, the trajectory where they are taking you, they are worried. And I'm so serious that they are. You should be worried. But a lot of people don't want to, because why should I be worried when I can just pretend that it is not happening? That you pretend that it is not happening doesn't mean that it is not. You might just be, reality may just wake you up tomorrow and you will be the next victim. And then you won't be able to deny the obvious anymore. Would you? Let's go talk about Atiku and Obi's meeting.
Okay, my brother. Where's Commissioner? Okay, my brother. Where's Commissioner?
Now, if anyone tells you that they are surprised to see Obi and Atiku together, it is either because they have not been paying attention to what is going on, or they just want to pretend, because it's safer to pretend that you didn't know. You know that face? Well, you do know. Now, here is what you should know. Since that, before the picture and the video made it to the internet, the articulated mugus, the articulated morons, the articulators, who have spent so much of the chunk part of the last 1 year blaming Obi and you, the obedience, for why PDP lost and Atiku is not the president today. Oh, they said a lot of horrible, you guys said a lot of horrible things to yourselves, right? And somehow, I remember some of you who said, good enough. Obi has his footing, and therefore, it will never go back to PDP. It doesn't matter anymore. And it's not like he's going to PDP, by the way, so that I'm not trying to. So I just want to first tell you the mixed reactions I have been witnessing. So the articulated fraudster, the SPV boys, Obi spoil business. And in fact, Peter Obi actually worked for Tinubu. That is their belief. And as for the obedient, Ogun kill you there. It's not your fault. If not because say this or that, you, who are you to talk to Obi like that? Do you know this? Anyway, back and forth, they've been holding themselves. So this afternoon, the news came and said Obi was going to be meeting with Atiku, but it's going to be after meeting with Sule Lamido of Jigawa, all in Abuja. And according to them, they've been trying to talk. Listen, they said some of these guys, I think you should know, it wasn't really that strong anyway, but they asked him, Obi, about it when he was in Canada, I think. But before then, right, we've been hearing about alliance. Now, all of them should come together if they want to defeat Tinubu. They must learn to come together. Opposition must come together and pull that like that. But the obedient were like, they are not saying they are not going to work with anyone. No. But as long as Peter Obi is going to be the candidate of that group. And in Nigeria, it is so crazy that sometimes strange bedfellows, they can find themselves together trying to save the people that have been traumatized by them. Let's save them now. Strange bedfellows. Anyway, so they have been talking about alliance. If anybody wants to defeat Tinubu or APC, all opposition must come together. We must all work together. But Showore is like, no, I'm not coming. That one, so I'm not going to add him. But a lot of people were like, why would you go and, mix up with people of questionable character because you want power? But you don't look at it that way. If you want to rescue Nigeria, why are you rescuing Nigeria? Isn't that what APC did? Rescued Nigeria from Goodluck Egbere Jolantan. And then they got the power. And then everything Polukumushu. So why? And then also, Peter Obi that says that he's not desperate to be president and all that. It could actually be the drive for these young people. No, that's not how to do it. For you to defeat incumbents, you need to work with everybody. So they started the talk about working together. So the obedient were giving conditions. The articulators were giving conditions. Me, I be neutral person where they watch all of them from far. Take that one and say, okay, so what is this one saying? Oh, okay. All right. What about this one? I'm always there. I've always been there, right? So the articulators were like, Obi betrayed Atiku because Peter Obi attended the declaration for president of Atiku. 2 days later, Peter Obi left PDP for Labour, and they didn't forgive him. Mind you, they actually said he was worthless, he was weightless, he has no weight and all of that. These were the Atiku's boys. But when the show came down, they hated Obi more. And they still do. To them, there was nothing wrong in a Fulani man taking over from another Fulani, as long as they were going to get appointments, okay, and they will have a chance of getting back to power. I'm talking about the SPV boys. True story. So they now said, Atiku now came out and said he was willing to actually support Igbo president in 2023, that they had a meeting and then they said they should zone the PDP presidential tickets to the south. And then others said, if it's going to be zoned to the south, then it must be micro-zoned to the southeast, to the Igbos, and nobody will contest.